Hello, Steve White, TrekBoy89 for Steve Arts 89. Well, I just did a video on the Star Trek Day artwork and the leaving William Shatner off, basically. And I was supposed to be doing a video about the whole Star Trek Day, but I got to about 10 minutes and I hadn't even gotten past the artwork and the idea of replacing the Star Trek celebrations we already have with this new Star Trek Day. So I'm doing a separate video. So, on Star Trek Day, basically what it is it's a, for the moment, it's a free virtual day of programming and panels, or I don't know, I'm a bit confused because it only states 3 hours, but it states a whole lot of panels, so whether they're running at the same time or whether they're all very short and they're all going to run a total of 3 hours, I'm not sure how that was going to work. But it's interesting. I guess this is just something they're just doing this year because there is there's all the big conventions are off. The places where they normally announce things are not happening. The press conferences, the press events, stuff like that, they can't do. So this is a way to perhaps release more trailers for the upcoming season 3 of Discovery and stuff like that. So. But yeah, so apparently now, September 8th, which has traditionally been celebrated as the anniversary of the original Star Trek premiering, is going to be Star Trek Day, although they put out a poster and didn't really include William Shatner in it and excluded Captain Archer and really emphasised the Discovery and Sonequa Martin Green, which isn't really Star Trek to a lot of people. So that was all very interesting. But the day itself, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 panels. Now, the first one that they're obviously focusing on is Star Trek Discovery. Kurtzman and Michelle Paradise will be there speaking to Sonequa Martin Green and David Adajala. I think that's how you say his name. I'm not going to pretend like I can pronounce anyone's names. I never can. They may have a new trailer, they may have new info. It's hard to tell exactly what they're going to have. But the Star Trek Universe panel that they had at the Comic-Con a while ago wasn't that great. It was very scripted, and I think it was the only scripted one and pre-filmed one that got a lot of criticism. It wasn't very spontaneous, or it didn't seem very genuine. It just seemed very rehearsed and scripted, and if it's going to be the same as that, I don't think they're going to get warm welcomes. If they're like a live panel where people can talk to them, or if it's in some sort of scenario where there's a small amount of, like a couple of fans that can ask questions, or if it's just like an interview, I'm not sure how well it's going to be received, because it really doesn't compensate or sort of give you the feeling of like the convention panel. They really need to do something that feels like that if they want to sort of fill that gap. Now, Deep Space Nine is getting one, and that is focusing on Far Beyond the Stars, which is going to have Ira Stephen Bear, or however you say his name. I don't like him. Star Trek Deep Space Nine, he really didn't like Next Gen, and he was really trying to create like an anti-Star Trek, and I didn't really get it at the time when I was younger, but I can really see it now, and I haven't watched Deep Space Nine in years. It's kind of going to be left off the Star Trek marathons, I think, but parts of it I really like, but you can really see the intention behind it now, so I'm not a huge fan of Deep Space Nine. I see it as sort of the sort of proto Discovery sort of New Trek sort of beginnings, where it was very anti-Trek, but they did it within Star Trek though, where they created a situation where Star Trek rules, traditional Star Trek and Starfleet rules, wouldn't really apply. So it didn't actually alter them. It does work. Unlike Discovery, which just abandoned, and some of the New Trek just abandoned the rules and formats and things and themes that we're used to. They made legitimate reasons to actually go around them. So I do respect that creatively and artistically, and the show itself is brilliantly written and everything. But this is not a review of the show, Stephen. We're talking about the panels. Star Trek Voyager, they're doing a 25th anniversary one with Kate, both Roberts, Tim, Ethan, Garrett. I've only met some of these people. I don't know why I'm referring to them by first names, but you all know who the actors are. The only one who's not there is Robert Beltran, who no one's met because he doesn't do any conventions, or he does occasionally. He's doing one this next year, I think. Enterprise is getting one with Scott Bakula, who I haven't met, John Billingsley, who's great, Dominic Keating, who I do not like. I think he's really homophobic. I met him in person and he offended me. That's allegedly. It was just a feeling. Anthony, what's his last name? Met him too, can't remember. He's there. Linda Park, Connor Trinier, he was hot in person. They're all going to be there. Strange New Worlds, of course, is getting a panel, and they're going to have Akiva Goldsman, Danny Perez, the writers, Danny Perez, Henry Also Myers, and Angelo Cooper. I'm not sure if I've said any of those names right. And of course, Anson Mount, Ethan Peck, and Rebecca Romaine. What's her name now? You know who I'm talking about. No one's going to be there. And I'm feeling optimistic about that show, but I mean, I wouldn't put it past Kurtzman to sell us on the idea of a new, episodic Star Trek show in traditional style, and then just give us more Discovery. So I'm very skeptical. I'm optimistic, but I'm skeptical at the same time. I'm hopeful, but yeah. And then they're doing a Lower Decks one with Mike McMahon. Is it Mike McMahon? I can't read my own writing. And of course the four main actors, who I don't even know their names. I'm sorry, I have one episode of that show that I didn't hate so far, and I didn't actually like it, I just didn't hate it. So I haven't really embraced the actors or any, yep. Next Gen, they're doing a Next Gen Picard panel, I guess you'd try and call it, but they're only featuring Picard and Jonathan Frakes. I mean, Patrick Stewart and Jonathan Frakes, which Marina Sirtis commented, I guess my invite was lost in the mail. Like, why aren't the other people there? Why aren't the other panels there? People on the panel, the other actors. Some people would suggest it's because there's some issues between the actors, because some of them got left out of the show when they really should have been brought on. Patrick didn't want anyone else on the show. He just wanted it to be about Picard, which is very self-involved and not exactly being kind to your family of actors and your entourage of actors that you've been working with and friends with for decades. So I think maybe there might be some issues there, but I could just be projecting drama. Now, the last panel is a panel on the original series, and it also is limited. It only has George Takei, who I love. I've met him, he's great. And Rod Roddenberry, who I haven't met, but... and he did let us down on Discovery. He was supposed to be there to make sure they didn't do any of the stuff they did. But there are a lot of people who were mentioned who were supposed to be like consultants, who were just mentioned for the press and they never actually did anything on the show. They weren't invited, they weren't involved, they were just used, basically, as far as I can see and am concerned. So I don't hold it against them, although they probably should have said something about it afterwards, like I wasn't really consulted, I didn't really get any input, or they ignored my input or whatever, which seems to be what happened. And of course William Shatner just sort of noted that he wasn't invited, and none of the other original cast are invited. Now the original cast, there's not a lot of the original cast now. Nichelle has just retired. I don't know if her final convention happened. It was supposed to happen in May, and I meant to check if it actually happened because of coronavirus. I'm not sure it did, but she's got legal problems with her family. George is there. Walter seems fine. He's been working on projects. I'm not sure why he wouldn't be there. And who's left? Oh my God. DeForest died, Leonard died, Grace died, Scotty died. Wow, yeah, there's not a lot of options for that panel anymore, sadly. But yeah, so that's interesting. They're basically doing a little virtual convention in place of the real ones that are not around. So at least they are not just rebranding the anniversary as their own Star Trek Day, which is what it feels like. They are creating an event for this year. And I don't know what's going to happen next year. Will they do the same thing next year? Will it be an annual event? Will they keep to it? Or will it be like StarTrek.com, where as soon as Enterprise went off, they just cancelled it all and the fans had to go find somewhere else and had to go to fan-made forums and stuff. So is it going to be like that? Will we get it back? Will it end up being the fans celebrating the anniversary by themselves again, like they've been doing for years, when the studio didn't have anything to promote and didn't care. How is it going to go in future? I'm not that offended by having the idea of the anniversary being a Star Trek day and then just focusing on the main anniversaries, like the 60th anniversary will be 60th anniversary Star Trek day sort of thing. But the idea of just making it Star Trek day and trying to take it away from the original series anniversary, I think is part of this whole trying to get rid of the original fans and the original Star Trek and replace it rather than just adding to it, which seems to be the attitude of the new creators. They don't seem to want to contribute. They don't want more seats at the table. They want to remove people. That's how it feels. And as an older Star Trek fan who's been around loving Star Trek for a couple of decades now, I do feel like I'm not welcome, even though I have supported the fandom for decades with merchandise and support. I really do feel I'm not welcome, and most of the old fans are feeling that now. And the new fans aren't supporting the show like the old fans. They don't buy the merchandise. That's why there isn't any merchandise of note. And it's all a bit of a mess. So I'm not quite sure what this day is supposed to achieve. It does seem like just PR, like they're just using the day and using fans just to promote the new show, and they really don't care about the other fans who are normally celebrating all the other series, because although they're all getting a panel, they're not really highlighted, and some of them are pretty slight. So it's kind of interesting to see how this will unfold. Will it actually get a good response? Because the online Comic Cons that have just happened in the last month or so did not do well. You really can't recreate the fan experience, and going there in person, meeting in person, connecting in person, and also a lot of them didn't even try. They were just like recorded interviews. They weren't actually even panels where it had that feel of a group talking or being asked questions or whatever. And so it'll be curious to see how that goes. It'll be curious to see how that goes. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think. If you know anything else about the panels or anything happening on that day, or how do you celebrate the day? I used to try and do a Star Trek marathon, or start a Star Trek marathon of all the series. For the 50th anniversary, I tried to watch every episode of the original Star Trek on the day it was originally aired for the 3 years afterwards. And then I tried the next year to do a 20th or whatever anniversary of Next Generation in the same way, or 30th anniversary of the Next Generation in the same way, and try and watch every episode, and then try to do Deep Space Nine. I tried to create a 18-year marathon, but it was really hard, and I just kept forgetting dates and missing stuff. And by the time I got to the end of Next Gen, it was just Deep Space Nine. I kind of forgot and I didn't finish it. But how do you celebrate the day? I'm just going to watch my favourite episodes and try and catch up on some interviews and specials and things like that I haven't watched. But let me know what you do for Star Trek for the anniversary, and for First Contact Day if you celebrate that. I'm going to go.